So, in your memory, in June 10, 2024, was that vehicle's rear tail light had a piece missing, correct?
Correct.
You said that your memory about the damage to the tail light, as you recall it when you were in Dighton back on January 29, 2022, you said your memory is as good as your memory that you said in court there was a difference between that photo and the damage, right?
Right.
Have you ever read your testimony from your last proceeding?
Never.
But you have a specific memory of discussing that specific photograph? Yes?
Yes.
Any approach?
Yes.
I'm going to show you your transcript of sworn testimony on June 10, 2024. And when you reflect on your memory, understanding some time has passed, you've testified that your memory of distinguishing that photo is reflected in your testimony, right?
Objection.
So ask the question differently.
Okay. Your memory is that you discussed the distinction between that photo and what you saw at the last time you testified.
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
And as you take a look at that, could you show me anywhere in your testimony, anywhere, where you made any statement about that photo being inconsistent with what you saw in Dighton on January 29, 2022?
It's not in there.
Can I approach?
Yes.
I can put it back on. Thank you. So respectfully, sir, your memory about distinguishing that photo is not as you thought it was and claimed it was in this transcript, correct?
Correct.
And that's not a matter of you trying to fool anybody or lying, is it?
No.
No, it's a matter of time passes and memory fades. Yes?
Yes.
And that's one real example why at the academy they teach you when you write reports to be as detailed as you can. To accommodate the fact that memories can fade. Right?
Correct.
Memories can change.
I know what I saw, and that wasn't it.
Well, that's not what I'm asking you, because you just testified that under oath you had looked at that photo and distinguished it. But that's not accurate, is it?
No.
And so it's not a matter of you perjuring yourself or lying, it's a matter of difficulties with memory, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Correct.
And you share those same difficulties with memory as many other witnesses.
Objection.
Sustained.
You have, as is human nature, difficulties with memory at times, correct?
Correct.
And so that very certain memory you had about your testimony last year, fair to say that never happened.
Correct.
You were simply mistaken, weren't you? Or something more, please tell me.
Correct.
The gaslighting by Hank Brennan is disturbing. It's blatantly obvious that he knows the truth, but wants to win at any cost, even at the cost of a woman's life. He accused a sergeant of lying or having a faulty memory in front of the jury and accused him of changing his story from last year. I went back and I rewatched his testimony last year and it's exactly the same. I will show you both testimonies. Tell me what you think. Should a prosecutor be allowed to mislead the jury? And why does the judge allow it? The only thing different is that in 2024, the Commonwealth called him as a witness, and in 2025, the defense called him because the state decided they did not want to call a witness that damaged their case. Even more interesting is that I noticed the defense asked 0 questions of this witness in 2024 because they didn't need to ask any questions. He was essentially their witness. He helped him, so the defense says no questions. And that happened with a lot of the state witnesses from 2024 that they chose not to call because they all turned into defense witnesses. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Let me know. What do you think? Do you think Brennan was gaslighting the jury? Do you think that the judge was right and not stopping it? I really want to hear your thoughts. What do y'all think?
In regard to that earlier situation?
Later on, I believe it was around 2:30 in the afternoon, I received a phone call from the Norfolk District Attorney's Office with the troopers assigned there, and they had stated that they were going to come to Dighton to retrieve a vehicle that was involved in a homicide.
On January 29th, 2022, did you receive some sort of a call to respond to a particular location? I don't want the address of the location. We'll get to that in a second. Did you receive some sort of a call in the afternoon?
I did.
Describe that for the jurors, please.
Around 2:30 in the afternoon, I received a call from the troopers assigned to the Norfolk District County DA's office in regards to a vehicle that was at a residence in the town of Dighton.
What were you asked to do? Why did you get that call?
The troopers said that they were coming into my jurisdiction, and as a courtesy, they wanted me to respond with them.
Is that sort of normal protocol? If you go into somebody else's jurisdiction, you let them know?
Yes.
So that was not necessarily unusual?
No.
About what time did you receive that first call?
The first call was around 2:30 in the afternoon.
Was there are logs kept of those kinds of things? If you get a call, you respond to location?
Yes.
At some point after you received that first call, did you receive any other call specifying a time of arrival for the MSP troopers, anything like that?
I did.
Describe that for us.
I got a second call around 3 p.m. From Trooper Michael Proctor stating that he was about 10 minutes away from the address in Dighton.
At the point that you spoke with Michael Proctor, had you ever spoken to him in your professional or personal capacity ever before?
Never.
Did you know the name? Did you know who he was?
I did not.
Complete stranger?
Complete stranger.
What time did you actually arrive at the residence?
I arrived at the residence, I believe it was 3:27 p.m.
And did they give you a specific address as far as where they were going?
I believe the address was 345 Country Hill Drive in Dighton, North Dighton.
And with regard to that address, what, if anything, did you recognize between that and the earlier call that you were just speaking of?
That was the address that came up on the 911 call when that gentleman had called earlier.
Now, as far as you received that call at about 2:30, do you know specifically who you spoke to around 2:30 in the afternoon?
Trooper Michael Proctor. On the first call, the troopers just had asked me if I could meet them at that residence as a courtesy since they were coming into my jurisdiction.
And what, if anything, did they indicate to you as far as where they were or when they felt they would be arriving in that area?
Trooper Proctor advised me that they were heading, I believe, from Canton, and once they were about 10 minutes away, they would recontact me so that I could meet them at the residence.
And subsequently, later in that afternoon, did you receive further contact from Trooper Proctor?
I did.
And do you know about what time that was?
I believe the first phone call was around 3 p.m. that he had called me and said that they would be there in about 10 minutes.
And upon receiving that call, what, if anything, did you do?
I had contacted, Trooper Proctor had asked me to contact our tow company to have them meet us at the residence as well. And I said once I hung up with him, I would contact the tow company and then respond to that address on Country Hill Drive.
And is there a specific tow company that the Dighton Police uses with regard to towing of vehicles within the town?
During that period, it was Diamond Towing.
And so did you contact someone at Diamond Towing in reference to responding to that address as well?
I did. I contacted the owner, and he responded.
Now, as far as that area of Dighton, if you could explain to the jury sort of what you observed as you were coming down towards that residence on that day.
Okay, so when I responded to that address that street is off of 138. When I turned onto Country Hill Drive, I was traveling west. When I arrived on that street, I observed a black pickup truck parked on the street facing east. I was flagged down by that black pickup truck by the driver and was told that they were the troopers that I had spoke to, Trooper Michael Proctor and the other sergeant.
Sergeant that left the room as you were coming in?
Correct.
And what identification did they provide to you in reference to that?
They showed me their ID and their badges.
Sergeant Barros, I don't want the address, the cameras are rolling. Did you respond specifically to a residence in the city of Dighton?
Yes,
Did you at that time know who lived at that residence, who resided there?
I did.
How did you know that?
Early in the shift, when I came on at 8 a.m., the midnight shift, the outgoing shift, had told me that a resident of Dighton at that address had called looking for a ride to Brockton Hospital.
Who did you know at that time, or who did you believe at that time to live at the address that you are now responding to?
William Reed.
That was Reed, R-E-A-D?
Correct.
Okay. Did you know anything about his daughter at that time, or did you just know the name William Reed?
I just knew William Reed, the name.
At the time that Michael Proctor called you, did he say anything about what his intentions were once he arrived at the location?
Yes, his intention was to retrieve a vehicle that he said was involved in a homicide.
Did he specifically say to you at 3 o'clock-ish in the afternoon he intended to seize the vehicle?
I believe the first phone call, that was his intention.
And then from there, where did you proceed?
I had parked my marked police vehicle at the end of the driveway since it was a snowstorm and we could not get into the driveway. And then we walked up to the residence.
So when you say it was a snowstorm and we couldn't get into the driveway, can you expound upon that a little as far as explain to the jury why it was that you couldn't get into the driveway?
It was about a foot of snow in the driveway.
And as far as that snow that you observed when you arrived there, was that snow, how did that snow appear as far as, did it appear as if it had been shoveled or snow blown or untouched, or how did it appear?
It was untouched.
Now, as you're going through the snow, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's yourself, Trooper Proctor, and the sergeant from the state police, and who, if anyone else, is going along with you?
I had an officer that was field training with me that day, and he was with me as well. And we went up to the residence.
And as you're walking up to the residence, what, if anything, did you come upon as you're going towards, say, any door or getting closer to the home?
I remained at the garage. The two troopers went to the front door and made contact with the homeowner.
Now, as far as you were there specifically for a vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Meaning all the way back to 2:30.
2:30 is when he first called me and said that they were coming to Dighton to retrieve a vehicle that occurred in a homicide in Canton.
And you understood that to mean what? Retrieve a vehicle.
Seize.
Thank you. What was your role once you arrived at the scene at the Reed household?
My role was Trooper Michael Proctor asked me to facilitate a tow to tow that vehicle.
Was that a private tow company?
Yes.
And when you say facilitated tow, what does that mean?
He asked who we used for towing vehicles, and during that period of time, it was Diamond Towing.
Did Diamond Towing ultimately show up, a representative of that
They did.
tow company with a tow truck?
Correct.
A flatbed?
Yes.
Who was with Trooper Proctor when you arrived at the scene?
Sergeant Buchanan.
Had you ever met Sergeant Buchanan before?
Never.
Did you know him?
Nope.
Did you know him professionally or personally?
Never.
Had you ever spoken to him?
Never.
Ever? I'm so sorry. It's getting late in the day, and I guess I'm going too fast. Sorry, my fault. Let's start that just a little bit slower. Did you know him?
No.
Had you ever spoken to him before?
No.
Had you ever heard his name before?
No.
No relationship whatsoever.
None.
Same with Trooper Proctor.
Correct.
Once you arrived at the residence, did you have an opportunity to see the vehicle that was the focus of Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan's attention?
Yes, once I arrived and I parked my cruiser at the end of the driveway, I observed a black Lexus SUV in the driveway.
What were you driving?
I was driving a Ford F-150 police cruiser.
A police cruiser that's a Ford F-150?
Correct.
They have those?
Yes.
Cool. Were you in full uniform?
Full uniform.
Gun, badge, the whole works?
The whole works.
Did you observe a vehicle in the driveway at any time?
Yes, we observed a black Lexus SUV in the driveway.
And what, if any, observations did you make to the rear area of that vehicle specifically?
At first, I did not go up to the vehicle. I just remained at the driveway and waited for the troopers to come back. And once they came back, they were let into the house through the garage. I had walked in with them briefly and then went back out to the garage and remained with the vehicle.
Did you ever go inside the house?
Briefly.
What was the circumstance of going inside the house?
I went inside to let the troopers know that the tow truck operator was there. And I also went in to ask how we're going to get the tow truck into the driveway because there was about a foot of snow.
Okay. That sort of answers my next question. Did you see whether or not Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan actually did go inside the residence?
Yes, they did.
For the bulk of the time that they were in the residence, where were you?
Outside the residence.
Were you with the black SUV?
I was in the garage speaking to the defendant's mother.
The defendant's mom?
Yes.
Janet? Okay.
Yes.
Where was the SUV at this point?
In the driveway.
Did you have an opportunity to see the SUV?
I did.
Did you walk all the way around it?
Not all the way around.
Did you see the rear end of it?
I did.
Did you make note of the rear end of it?
Yes.
How long would you say you were at the location in a position to observe the rear end of that SUV? 2 minutes, 20 minutes, something in between? Longer?
I would say not the entire time that I was there, but a good amount of time.
More than a glance.
Yes.
And as far as at any point in time, did you have any conversation with anyone named Karen Reed that day while you were at the house?
I did not.
Now, with respect to you come back out to the garage, is that correct?
Correct.
And the troopers are inside the house, is that also correct?
Correct.
Now, at some point, do other vehicles come down to the driveway area of this residence that you were at?
I had contacted the highway superintendent after speaking with the troopers about how to retrieve the vehicle since the driveway was untouched and had about a foot of snow. I had made the decision that I would call the highway superintendent and see if that he would come and plow the driveway so that the tow truck would have access inside in the driveway.
And just in reference to this driveway, just if you could, not exact footage or anything, but how close is this Lexus SUV parked in relation to the roadway? How long is that driveway?
It's got to be about 150 feet off the roadway, if not more.
And if you recall, from where you're standing at the point of the garage, was what part of the vehicle was facing you? Was it the front of the vehicle, the back of the vehicle, the side of the vehicle? If you know?
I was looking at the left side of the vehicle.
And at some point, did you make any observations of the right rear part of that Lexus SUV?
I did.
And what, if anything, did you observe about that area of the vehicle?
I saw that there was some damage to the right rear taillight. To my best ability and recollection, that taillight was not completely damaged. It was cracked, and a piece was missing, but not completely damaged.
This is the afternoon of January 29th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Before the vehicle had been seized formally by Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan, correct?
Correct.
Did you observe anything of note about the rear end of that black SUV?
Yes, I noted in a report that there was
By the way, which taillight are we talking about?
the right rear taillight.
Can you describe for the jurors what you noted in terms of the damage to the right rear taillight?
I noted that the report said that there was right rear damage to that taillight.
When you say damage, have you ever described that damage previously?
I have.
Can you tell us what that
Yep.
description is?
There was, it was damaged, the taillight was damaged, but there was a crack missing, but it was not completely damaged.
When you say there was a crack, do you mean there was a piece missing?
A piece was missing.
Can you describe for the jurors kind of what that piece looked like, how big it was, how small, the shape, as you call it?
The piece was about maybe this big,
Is that maybe the size of a dollar bill, maybe 6 inches?
6 inches.
And
or so.
how wide?
Maybe that wide, maybe 3 inches, 2 inches, somewhere
Okay.
in there.
And then beyond the taillight area of that vehicle, what, if anything else, did you observe as far as damage to the rear passenger side area?
Like a dent on the rear quarter.
And as far as the dent on the rear quarter panel that you saw, was that above the taillight, below the taillight, or something?
It's probably right in conjunction with the taillight in that same area.
I want to show you a photo. Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would like to show Exhibit 13. It's been previously marked. Do you see what's depicted in this photograph?
I do.
What does that appear to be, just generally?
The right rear taillight.
Of what?
The Lexus SUV.
Is that consistent with the black Lexus SUV that you saw at the Reed residence?
That was the black Lexus. That was not the taillight the day I was there.
Can you do me a favor, Mr. Wolk? With the court's permission, could we zoom in on the right rear taillight, please?
Okay.
Do you see the condition of that taillight as it's depicted in this photo?
I do.
Sergeant Barros, is this the condition of the right rear taillight when you showed up at the Reed household at around 3:15 in the afternoon on January 29th, 2022?
Absolutely not.
What's different about this photo, sir?
That taillight is completely smashed out.
Does it appear that there are additional pieces of taillight that are removed from this taillight condition than when you saw it?
And from the time that you made these observations of the vehicle, at any point did you go sort of physically up to the vehicle?
I walked up to the vehicle, correct.
And about how far away from the vehicle did you get?
5 to 10 feet away.
And as far as the sort of outside or exterior of the vehicle, you mentioned obviously there's about a foot of snow on the ground. What, if anything, precipitation-wise or weather-wise, was around or on the outside of the vehicle?
Just snow.
And in particular, in this area of the right rear passenger side on that taillight, was there any snow or ice or anything around that area that you observed?
On the vehicle itself?
Yeah.
Yes, on the vehicle there was snow on the vehicle.
And not to put words in your mouth, but sort of caked on there, is that correct?
I guess you could say caked on, correct.
So you had reached out to the highway superintendent to have someone come out and plow the driveway, correct?
Correct.
And do you know about how long it was between the time that you made that call and the time that the plow driver came out to clear it?
Less than 10 minutes.
And the sort of clearing of the driveway and the process of that, do you know about how long that took?
I'd say another 10 minutes or so.
And as far as the time that the troopers went into the house, at some point the troopers obviously came out of the house, correct?
Correct.
Do you know about how long it was that they were inside of the house?
More than 30 minutes, less than an hour.
Now, at any point in time that while you were there, did you yourself or did you see anyone else touching or making any contact or manipulating or anything in that rear passenger side area of either the taillight or the dent that you were
I did
there?
not.
I'm sorry.
I did not.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, cross-examination?
No questions.
All right, Sergeant Barros, you are all set, sir.
Thank you.
you.
You told us there was some background about being subpoenaed and timing. Substantively, what did you talk about with the attorneys when you met them at their hotel conference room?
Other than that, they didn't go over my testimony. We just spoke about that I said that the taillight was not completely damaged.
Okay. Did you get into any detail about the conversation about your testimony today?
No,
When did you meet with them?
I don't have the date.
Last year, this year?
I don't have the date. I don't recall the date.
I'm not looking for a date, just the general year frame. Last year, this year?
Probably June, early in this year.
Are you having some difficulty with memory about that as well?
On a certain date, yes.
Not a certain date. Was it this year probably, or do you think you met them this year?
This year.
Do you know what month you met them this year?
I wouldn't know the month.
Certainly you talked about this issue with the taillight, didn't you?
Yes.
When you talked about the issue with the taillight, did anybody from the defense offer you any opinions or information?
No.
Did they ask you questions about it?
No.
So you went to a meeting in a Boston hotel in a conference room, and nobody talked about the taillight?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
Sir, I'll ask you another question instead. Have you had an opportunity to see other evidence of that taillight being damaged that morning before you saw it?
On the 29th of January? No.
The video that was shown to you with the tow truck, had you seen that before today?
Yes.
Who showed it to you?
From seeing it on TV, and
Was it shown to you during your conference room meeting at the hotel?
it was not.
So you've looked and studied and watched this case a little bit?
With all due respect, sir, I don't live under a rock. It's all over social media and the news. You can't avoid it.
I'm not criticizing you or discounting you, I'm just asking you. Have you been exposed to this case since you made those observations indicted on January 29, 2022?
I have.
Have you seen other video footage and evidence about that taillight since January 29, 2022?
I have.
Have you seen other information since you last testified last summer about the taillight?
I have.
And seeing this extraneous information, this other information, do you think that played a part in some of your difficult memory?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
Your Honor, you may approach.
Okay?
You've seen quite a bit of information about this case and the issue regarding the taillights since you first made the observations back in 2022. Wouldn't that be fair to say?
It would be fair to say.
And based on all the additional information you've read and seen, would you agree it's had some effect on your memory?
I guess.
No, I don't want you to guess. You testified that you made explanations at the last trial that you didn't make, right?
Correct.
You had a memory as you testified in direct examination under oath and you tried your best about things that just didn't happen, right?
Right.
Would you agree that you have some difficulty with your memory?
I'd agree.
I want to show you some evidence of that taillight before you had a chance to see it in Dighton. If we could have the ring video at 5:07:58, please. Have you seen this video before, sir?
I have.
Okay. Before you proceed, Ms. Gilman, have you seen this on social media?
The news, social media.
Has anybody else shown you this video?
No.
How many times do you think you've been exposed to this video?
Too many to count.
Because you were involved in this case, and I'm going to say as a predicate, there were no orders for you not to look at anything. I'm not suggesting any impropriety. But because you were involved in this case and issues regarding the taillight, do you think you had a particular interest when things like this came on TV and social media to take a look to compare it to your memory?
Did I have a
Yes.
particular interest? No, I didn't. I didn't follow this case
But you've seen this many, many times.
because of what is out there on social media and the news.
I understand. Can we play this, please? Turn the sound down. Thank you. Stop, please. Do you see that white part of the back rear right taillight?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
You see that? Sir?
Can you zoom in a little bit more? I can.
You can or cannot?
I don't know about y'all, but look at that taillight. I can see the crack where the white is on the side, but the rest of that taillight, it's there. You can see the red taillight. It's not missing. And this was the morning she went to look for him.
I can.
You can. C-A-N can?
Yes.
Thank you. Continue, please. Continue. Stop. Can you bring it back, Ms. Scully? Back more.
Again, we have a shot of the taillight, only this time it's from the back. Look at that taillight. You can see a little crack of white coming through here. But the taillight's intact. Clear as day.
Open, right there. Zoom, please. You see, sir? Sir?
I can see that.
Is that consistent with the damage that you saw when you looked at that Lexus in Dighton hours later?
Consistent.
Can we go to Exhibit 10, please? And before you show it, I have a couple questions. This was a snowstorm, kind of like a blizzard that day.
Yes.
And when you got to the driveway, it had not been shoveled or plowed.
Correct.
There was quite a bit of snow accumulating and ongoing.
Yes.
And there was snow coming down on top of everything, the ground, the streets, the cars, correct?
Correct.
And snow was accumulating, did you notice, on cars and packing onto cars?
Yes.
When you looked at this house, I'm sorry, when you looked at the defendant's Lexus in Dayton, you didn't go over and scoop out any of the snow that was in that broken taillight, did you?
I did not.
You didn't try to remove any snow off it or that was accumulated inside of it?
I did not.
And the snow there was snow packed on that car, wasn't there?
There was.
There was snow packed around the light, wasn't it?
There was.
And would you agree with the snow, since you didn't tamper with it or try to remove anything, that could impede your ability to accurately observe the depth of the damage? Would you agree with that?
I would.
If we could have Exhibit 10, please. Does that appear to be the same Lexus you looked at when it was in Dayton? And it's a far view, so I don't want you to guess. If you're not sure, you can tell me.
I wouldn't be able to tell you. I can't. I
Exhibit
can't.
11, please. Can you take a look to the right? You see that right tail light, the white part?
I can.
Missing, yes?
Looks like snow is packed on it.
Does it look like there's a red tail light there?
Does not.
This is before you saw the car in Dayton. Do you know that, or you wouldn't know that?
That doesn't look like the Reed's driveway.
Do you know if this photograph was taken before or after you made your observations in Dayton?
I do not.
The right rear taillight and the missing parts of it, is that consistent with what you saw around 3:27 on January 29, 2022?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Lights on, please, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be brief. Sergeant, did you celebrate your birthday 2 years ago?
I did.
Kind of a big deal. It's your birthday, right?
Yes.
What day of the week was your birthday 2 years ago?
No idea.
Do you have a difficult memory, sir?
Yes.
The fact that you had a birthday, you recall, correct?
Correct.
The day of the week of that birthday may fall by the wayside in your mind, right?
Right.
Sustain us to the form, Mr. Jackson, as
Of
your
course.
witness.
The fact that you can't remember the day of the week, does that mean that you have a bad memory?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
Correct.
You remember being in Dayton, correct? Being called out to Dayton, to the residents of the Reeds.
Correct.
Do you remember the time?
I do.
Do you remember the weather?
I do.
Do you remember who you met there?
I do.
Do you remember the conversations that you had?
I do.
Do you remember the phone calls that you received?
I do.
The first one?
I do.
The second one?
I do.
Do you remember being in the garage and speaking with someone?
I do.
Do you remember it was this lady, pretty lady right here in the blue?
I do.
Do you remember meeting Mr. Reed?
Briefly.
Handsome gentleman with the gold tie?
I do.
You remember all that, right? Do you remember the SUV?
I do.
Do you remember the condition of the taillight?
I do.
You were asked whether or not you saw Trooper Proctor in any way manipulate that right rear taillight while it was out at Dayton, while you were there, correct?
Correct.
You said no. Honestly, I never saw him touch it, right?
Correct.
Were you in the Sallyport in Canton PD? I'm sorry, in Canton, in the Sallyport, at the police station
I wasn't.
at 5:30 p.m.?
Objection.
Sustain.
At any point, did you ever go to the Sallyport at Canton PD that day?
I did not.
Do you have any idea what did or didn't happen inside the Sallyport?
Objection.
Sustain.
You were asked by Mr. Brennan, you could have taken photos had you wanted to, correct?
Correct.
And certainly you could have, right?
Correct.
Was that your vehicle that was being seized?
No.
You were simply there to assist another officer, right?
Objection.
The form, Mr. Jackson.
Of course. What were you there to do?
Just to assist another agency.
Would it have been normal protocol for you to photograph that vehicle?
No.
Did you see Trooper Proctor photograph the vehicle?
No.
Did you see Sergeant Buchanan photograph the vehicle?
No.
By the way, you and I did meet once before, correct?
Correct.
Was that before or after you testified last year at another hearing?
After.
And you were called by whom last year at the other hearing? The defense or the Commonwealth?
The Commonwealth.
You testified for them?
Correct.
Objection, move to strike.
So that's stricken. It's beyond the scope.
Did the Commonwealth ever contact you after your testimony at the hearing last year?
They did not.
Did they ever call you on the telephone?
After?
Correct.
No.
Did they ever send you a subpoena?
No.
And you testified last year that the taillight was cracked but not, or damaged but not completely broken, correct?
Sustained.
You and I met in a hotel in a conference room, correct?
Correct.
Anything sketchy or nefarious about that?
No.
Did I introduce myself to you?
You did.
You happen to know I live in Los Angeles?
Correct.
I don't have a house, right?
Correct.
I don't have an office out here, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you know whether or not I have an office?
I do not.
Do you remember me asking you if you would mind meeting at a hotel where I was staying in a conference room?
I do.
Okay. Do you have any problem with that?
Nope.
Did you find that unusual?
No.
Did you and I ever speak, ever, before your testimony last year?
No.
Did I ever tell you how I wanted you to testify?
No.
Did I ever tell you what to say?
No.
Did I show you any testimony?
No.
Did I play you any video?
No.
Did I show you a single photograph?
No.
During that conversation, did you tell me how to subpoena you?
I did.
Did you tell me where the subpoena should be directed?
I did.
Did you tell me your vacation schedule?
I did.
Did you tell me your availability and willingness to testify?
I did.
Did we talk about any other thing of substance other than that and whether or not you recalled what your testimony was from last year?
That was all we talked about.
As you sit here, Sergeant Barros, do you have any difficulty recalling what the condition of that taillight was on January 29th, 2022 at about 3 or 3:15 in the afternoon when you saw the vehicle? Any
No.
difficulty whatsoever?
No.
You remember the condition of that taillight?
I do.
Was the condition of that taillight the same as the photo that I showed you on my direct examination?
No.
Okay, that's all.
You would agree that your memory has changed since last time you testified in this courthouse.
Yes.
In the photo I showed you, the close-up with the missing right rear taillight, is that consistent with your memory of what you saw in Dayton on January 29, 2022?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it. It was opened
That's
up.
not evidence.
It was opened up.
Is it consistent with what you saw on January 29, 2022?
It is.
Thank you.
All right, Sergeant, you are all set. sir.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. What do you think? Did he change his story? Did his memory change? Does he have a memory problem, or is Hank Brennan a jackass? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you like this content, please subscribe and help our channel grow.